Hey guys, so we're here at Go for Game. The new ban list should come into effect as of tomorrow at the time of recording, so thought I'd just provide an updated Cyber Dragon list. So yeah, let's just get right to it. So it's going to be 3 cores as usual, as well as 3 hers. The 2 Naxxers, which is the ratio that I've always played at, pretty standard. Some people played at 1. I've tried playing it at 1 as well when I was playing different kind of Cyber Dragon variants, but realistically, it's up to you. 3 Cyber Dragons because we are playing the Machine Dupe variant, and it is back to the classic playstyle. I always like that approach. So that's it for the Cyber Dragon ratios. The other honorary Cyber Dragons, Galaxy Soldiers, I just played that too. Most people do as well, just to get to your Nova Infinity play. The other light machine is that Jizakuru. You could even play that 2 right now. I think it's actually pretty decent. You can search it off Repair Plant, so it's a nice way to clear boards. And worst case, you can pitch it for Galaxy Soldier if you're kind of in a pickle and you don't have any other ways to go into Nova Infinity. The other cards, unfortunately, I'm proxying the 2 King Therion Regulus, as well as the 2 Therion Field Spells. I did sell mine a while ago, but maybe I should buy them back again now that the price has gone cheaper. But in relation to that Field Spell, that means you can also play Terraforming, and yes, unfortunately, you can also play Mystic Mine. I really don't like this card. Should have been banned. It's not. And you know what? You're going second deck anyways. Might as well play it. It does force out that negate, and then, sometimes it could be an auto win. Other spells, particularly Cyber Dragon spells, 3 Cyber Emergencies, best spell card in this deck, as well as the 1 ref system, just to enable some, I guess. It can give you extra ways to get into Nova Infinity play sometimes. It's not as good now that Anaconda is banned, but I would still play it. The 1 Repair Plant to search your Galaxy Soldier for the most part, but you can also search that Jizakuru as I mentioned earlier. We're playing the 2 Cyber Dragon Fusions in Cyberload and Overload Fusion. Overload Fusion, before Anaconda was released, most people played it at 1 anyways. No need to play it at 3 personally. You could play it at 2, honestly. It's probably fine as well, but it's just more of like if you have it, you have it kind of card. As well as the 3 Machine Dupes, of course. Some people choose not to play this. I've always liked playing it. Just enables a lot of push, and especially in games where you're intentionally trying to go first, helps you set up that Nova Infinity much more easily. And then, of course, Cyberload Fusion. This is a card you definitely don't want to draw in your opening hand. It usually ends up being a bad hand if you do. It's something you search later in a grind game, especially after you use Overflow, you banish your materials, bring them back, Fusion summon Rampage Dragon on your opponent's turn to pop them. And remember, Counter Tick Rampage can miss timing, so you can check out my ruling video on that. On to other powerhouse spells. 3 Pod Prosperity. At this point, this deck is really clunky as it is. It has consistency issues, always had it. So Prosperity is very, very important in this deck. Unfortunately, it did get reprinted. Still kind of expensive, but I would recommend you play it. To Board Breakers, triple Dark Ruler in the main. Really good because this deck can make Zeus, of course, so you can try to clear boards that way. And I'm actually also deciding to play triple Super Poly as well. And with the Therion as well, if you can discard a machine and then fusion summon whatever your Super Poly target, and then with that machine in the grave, you can now special Regulus. So it kind of works out, and hers discarding it can also add you a Cyber Dragon. And of course, we also have the triple Lightning Storm, just for clear. It's kind of generic, right? Can back row remove or monsters, so I kind of like that. And then finally, for the traps, we have the triple Imperm, Cyber Dragon card by Art, and the 1 Overflow, really good card for popping. And so in the main, that is 46 cards. So on to the extra deck. We still play All Mirage, of course, get you that baby Cyber Dragon Grave. Anima, Naxxer, and hers are level 1s. Comes up to, suck up the Jizakuru you give to your opponent, or that Nibiru token you summon. Or if your opponent's dumb and they summon in zones 2 and 4, you can suck that up too. Seeger for the OTK, especially with Rampage for the most part. And Lina, you do play lights. Right now in this format, I don't think Lina is amazing. Dark is obviously way better. Back when Eldritch was very popular, for example, this is kind of nice. The Xyz, I've always played 2 Nova and 2 Infinity. You can play 1 and 1. Honestly, I like it at 2 because with the Naxxer, I like bringing back that Nova. So you can go into that second Infinity so that you have material on the summon of Infinity. And of course, the Big Daddy Zeus just to clear some boards. And it's really nice because it's also a machine. So in instances where, let's say on your turn, you actually clear your opponent's board, and then if you have the way to summon Naxxer, you can summon Infinity with that. And then now you have a Zeus wipe and an Infinity negate. Some fusions. We're just going to play 1 Rampage and 1 Fortress and 1 Mega Fleet. I usually play 2 of these in a pure Cyber Dragon build, but because we're playing Super Poly, we had to cut some space in the extra deck. But you know what? Especially when Clockwork Knights eventually comes out, I don't know when, but this might actually become a 3 of, at least 2 of. It can just contact fuse everything. And then the Super Poly targets, we have the Garura, which is probably the best one now. And then, of course, the Dragostapelia, which, you know, people traditionally play Starving Venom, but kind of in this format, it pretty much, you could always make Drago live, pretty much. And then Mud Dragon probably doesn't come up that much, certainly not in comparison to these two, but it just provides that kind of overall coverage with Super Poly. And finally, onto the side, we're playing triple Nibiru, just for those rogue decks, but also combo. And then I can't believe I'm actually playing this, but playing Spooky Dogwood. I know Jesse Cotton played it in his list as well. You know, we're going second, and you know, you can just gain a lot of life points in current format. And I mean, look at the border on this thing, by the way. This maximum gold rarity quality is pretty bad, but I'm excited to try this out. I think in a game 3 situation, it actually might be useful. Some back removal. I wish Red Reboot was still alive, but it is not, and this deck can struggle against back removal. That's why you can kind of consider taking out one of these playsets for additional back removal if you want. But for now, we are also playing evenly. You know, giving up in the battle phase for a deck that OTKs, honestly, this deck, that's fine. This deck is actually surprisingly grindy than you think it might be, and so sacrificing battle phase is fine. The way at times where it can get kind of tricky is whether you decide to use this or if you try to go for the Zeus clear instead. So that's where it gets kind of confusing. And then the last card, in case you want to go first, is the 3 D barriers. I usually play Summon Limit. That could work as well. D barrier is quite popular, and for some reason, Red Reboot's banned and this didn't get hit. So you know what? Might as well play it. There's other options, you know, different Dimension Ground or whatever to banish. But you know, I think this is pretty solid. So yeah, that's it for the updated list for this new format. Hope you enjoy that. Hope it's helpful, and yeah, take care.